What's up guys, it's Tommy here and welcome to a very exciting Liverpool transfer news video because Fabrizio reports that Liverpool and other clubs want to sign Hugo Ekitike, the French striker who is a magnificent talent, and we will look at what he could bring to Liverpool and how much better he could be than Darwin Núñez is right now. Darwin Núñez only scored 7 goals this season. Ekitike already has 19 goals for Frankfurt, who are in the Champions League places in the Bundesliga at the moment, and Arsenal and Liverpool and Man United are all interested in signing Hugo Ekitike, and he could be a lot cheaper option than somebody like Alexander Isak. Isak is going to be probably 120-130 million pounds if he moves in the summer. Ekitike could cost half of that, like around 60 million is mooted, and Fabrizio actually said that Ekitike is expected to play in the Premier League, with Liverpool and other English clubs are heavily interested in him, and he is a second in the Frankfurt goal scoring charts, but he ranks 4th in key passes per game, he ranks 2nd in shots and dribbles per game, and he also is ranking 2nd in his match rating, and he is just 22 years old, and he's one of Europe's finest up-and-coming young striker talents, and he exactly looks like and feels like a Michael Edwards type of analytical signing that Liverpool picked out due to his data being very, very good. And it's no surprise that he's touted for a big move in the summer, and he has a massive potential, and due to his height, his age and his goal scoring record, it looks like there will be a battle for his signature. And Fabrizio said, I expect Ekitike to play in the Premier League next season. I said that 10 days ago and I keep insisting, as this is the feeling in the football industry. There are contacts already, but from several clubs, so it's too early to indicate that Liverpool are favorites to sign him, but we have as good a chance as anyone, because if Liverpool sell Darwin Núñez, then Ekitike could be a starting striker, potentially rotating with Diogo Jota, of course. And Arsenal are also in desperate need of a striker, but Liverpool also need more firepower. We could sell Darwin Núñez, we could sell Luis Diaz, maybe even Diogo Jota, but I would want to keep Jota because signing 2 strikers in one transfer window is very risky, and Jota is a proven goal scorer, but he's injury prone. And already it looks like Arsenal held discussions with intermediaries, so people representing Ekitike or close to the Ekitike camp, and Arsenal are one of the teams who are very interested in him, but it looks like he could be available for 60-65 million pounds, which is still a little bit of a high price in my opinion for a player who had one breakthrough season for Frankfurt, but before this season Ekitike hasn't looked like a huge talent. And Ekitike is 6'3" tall, and he's a presence in the box, and even though he has a slim frame, he still has a lot of physicality and a lot of speed as well, and many people likened him to Alexander Isak in that they play in a similar playing style. He had a successful spell in France at Stade de Reims, where after that he moved to Paris Saint-Germain, where he couldn't get regular playing time as a teenager. So then he went to Frankfurt, and the rest is history. At Frankfurt he had a breakthrough season, and he's a rising star. And Ekitike wants to play for a Champions League club. And Louis Steele, a Liverpool-based journalist, has said Liverpool are interested in Ekitike, and he is a penalty box poacher, but he also can link up play, and he could thrive because Liverpool have fast, pacey wingers next to him potentially next season. Yes, Diogo Jota offers more in link up play and passing, but physically Ekitike is a lot stronger, and Ekitike would be a nightmare matchup in aerial duels for centre-backs, far more than Jota. Jota's main problem has been that he hasn't been able to keep the ball against big, strong defenders. He gets easily pushed off the ball. He's not tall enough to win aerial battles. So because Ekitike is very strong, and here you can see the comparison between Ekitike and Isak, and it's very, very similar. According to FBref, Ekitike is performing quite similarly to Alexander Isak, but in some metrics he's even outperforming Alexander Isak. Ekitike is the red, and as you can see, he outperforms Isak in some metrics like shot creating actions, passes completed, pass completion rate, non-penalty expected goals plus expected assists, and in terms of regular assists as well. And he also wins more area duels, higher percentage of area duels, successful take-ons. That's similar but higher than Isak. And in terms of progressive carries, he's very similar to Alexander Isak. And he has 19 goals and 8 assists in 38 games for Frankfurt this season. And according to FotMob, no player is averaging more expected goals and assists combined per 90 minutes than Ekitike, 1.05, which means that he regularly is expected to score or assist in any game in the Bundesliga, and his expected goals is second behind Harry Kane, which is also very, very promising and very interesting. And here are his numbers. So as you can see, he went to Eintracht Frankfurt last season, and last season he only played 16 games, scoring 4 goals and getting 2 assists. But this season has been his breakthrough season. 19 goals and 8 assists. That's 27 goal contributions in 39 games. And in the Bundesliga, he has 13 goals and 4 assists in 24 games, as well as Frankfurt is having a great season. It looks like they are odds on to qualify for the Champions League. And David Lynch said that Ekitike is 22 years old and he's banging in goals at that rate in a top 5 league. Liverpool will be definitely looking at him. It's still early days to know whether he is 100% a target for Liverpool, David Lynch said. But you do sometimes worry about strikers coming from the Bundesliga, because we have seen that many times before and they have not quite been able to bring it over to the Premier League all the time. But he's definitely an interesting name, so I wouldn't rule it out that Liverpool would go for him. But Liverpool must consider whether he is the right cultural fit and whether he possesses the mental fortitude to succeed at Liverpool, because you have to be very strong mentally to succeed at Liverpool, and you also have to be very calm, very cool in front of goal, something that sometimes Darwin Núñez lacks. So I wouldn't doubt that Liverpool are interested in Ekitike, David Lynch said, but we just don't know if they will act on that interest and whether they think he's the guy to replace Darwin Núñez. Liverpool need to factor in a lot of different aspects and different reasoning around which player, which striker should Liverpool target. I would still target Alexander Isak, but Newcastle might not want to sell. They might not be interested in a reasonable transfer fee. And if Liverpool are priced out of Isak, then Ekitike could be a fantastic alternative for like half the price. And let's talk about FSG's transfer strategy as well in this video. But first, let me know your thoughts on Hugo Ekitike. Are you a big fan of him? I certainly am. He formed a fantastic partnership with Omar Marmoush at Frankfurt, and my first choice would have been Marmoush because he can play as a striker as well, but Man City signed him for 70 million in the January transfer window, and at that price he's overpriced. So I think if Ekitike, they want 65 million, I wouldn't pay that amount for him. I don't think he's worth that. But maybe 55, 60 million, maybe. And the Liverpool data and analytics team and a scouting team will look at Ekitike in much more detail. So hopefully they will make the right decision. But it's well known that FSG are operating on a sell-to-buy transfer strategy, and Liverpool only spend what they make, and FSG are not pumping additional money into the transfer funds. And it's fair that we hold that representation of the Liverpool owners, and that because that's how it always felt. Liverpool could only spend big when we sold Coutinho for 140 million. However, even if we still use that logic this summer, and even if Liverpool free up some funds for transfers, Liverpool are still in an exciting position to spend, because there is no excuse that Liverpool can't go on to spend 80 to 100 million pounds on an attacker, especially if the outgoing showing rumors of Diaz, Jota, Nunez are true, or we may even if we sell two of them, if I had a choice, I would sell Luis Diaz and Darwin Nunez to free up a lot of funds in the transfer window. I would keep Chiesa, Cody Gakpo for the left wing, and Salah and another player for the right wing, and I would sell Nunez and bring in a striker and bring in a winger who can play right wing and left wing, so they could alternate between Chiesa and that new winger who deputizes for Salah when he is not there to play for Liverpool, or who deputizes when Gakpo needs a rest. And I think Liverpool could sell Kelleher, Tsimikas, Tyler Morton, Harvey Elliott, Luis Diaz, Darwin Nunez, maybe even Gerard Kwanzaa and Wataru Endo as well, and other youth players like the Endo could be sold for additional funds. And yes, most of these players will have to be replaced, but you can see already Kelleher has been replaced. Kwanzaa will fall down the pecking order when Liverpool sign a centre-back, potentially to replace Joe Gomez. Milos Kerkez seems like a nailed-on transfer, but Liverpool will definitely sign a new left-back, so Tsimikas will move on. Tyler Morton had suitors even last summer and in January, and Endo, I want him to stay, but he could be sold as well. We will talk about that a little bit later, because Frankfurt, Ekitike's club, is actually interested in Endo, so we could do a player plus cash deal for Ekitike. Harvey Elliott doesn't look like he's favored by Arne Slot, and Luis Diaz's dad has flirted with Barcelona a lot, and Darwin Nunez wants that Saudi cash, it looks like. So for the Liverpool owners, FSG, there is absolutely zero excuses not to spend big in the summer transfer window, and the money earned from player sales could earn Liverpool as much as £125 million. And so FSG need to free up some cash. There is no excuse for them not to, and not just the odd 20 to 50 million, they need to add another 100 million on top of the player sales. So Liverpool probably need to spend close to 200 million pounds just to stay competitive. And that's with only calculating that Trent Alexander-Arnold is going to leave out of the big three. I calculate with Salah and Van Dijk staying. If they both also leave, then that 200 million goes up to potentially 300 million or maybe even more. So that's why I said always that Liverpool need to keep Salah and Van Dijk as well, because the transfer window becomes an almost impossible job for the recruitment team if you have to replace 5 or 6 players plus Salah and Van Dijk on top of that. And Eintracht Frankfurt have already acquired about Wataru Endo. He's 32 years old. He still has a good 2 or 3 years left in him. In the Premier League, maybe 2 years. And Frankfurt are interested in Endo, but it all comes down to valuation and how much Frankfurt can pay for Wataru Endo. That's why I think it would be smart to include Endo in the Ekitike deal. Plettenberg posted that Frankfurt have inquired about Wataru Endo. He's a possible candidate for Frankfurt in the summer, but other names are also being considered. Endo is allowed to leave Liverpool as reported. The topic is not a priority for Eintracht, partly because the overall package is still expensive. Frankfurt are informed about the situation. It looks like Endo hasn't been fancied by Arne Slot. I think Arne Slot wants a more dynamic and physically stronger midfielder than Wataru Endo. He only made 14 appearances in the Premier League, and I think he only started maybe 1 game, but I'm not even sure about that. So Liverpool definitely need to think long and hard about who to sell and who to sign. My personal opinion, Trent Alexander-Arnold looks like to be leaving. I would sell Joe Gomez because he is too injury prone. I would actually keep Kwanzaa around, maybe loan him out for half a season to give him more playing time. But I would definitely sign a new centre-back to replace Joe Gomez. I would keep Van Dijk and just give him a contract that he would sign. I would also sell Tsimikas, keep Robertson around. I would bring in Milos Kerkez. I would sell fringe players like Wataru Endo and Tyler Morton. I would personally keep Harvey Elliott because I'm a huge fan of him. And instead of Endo and Morton, bring in a more dynamic young midfielder who can develop and grow behind McAllister, Gravenberch, Curtis Jones. And yes, Endo is a great utility player, but I'm sure that if we could get a good fee for him, we could sign a younger replacement. And I would sign a winger who can play, who is young, fast, and who can score a bit of goals, but who could also be happy on the bench when Salah is starting with Gakpo on the wing. I would keep Chiesa around. I would sell Luis Diaz because he has like 2 years left on his contract. You can get really good money for him. It doesn't look like he will improve his numbers. He's a 15 goal a season winger, and we need better first choice wingers than that, which is harsh, but at a club like Liverpool, you know, Luis Diaz going like so many games without a goal contribution, like he has 1 goal in 18 games, something like that. That's just not good enough for a club like Liverpool. You can't just rely on Mo Salah. And if it was my choice, I would sign Alexander Isak. Just come up with the money that Newcastle would accept, 120 million. And Alexander Isak would love to play for Liverpool, in my opinion. So that's what I would do. But let me know, what do you think should Liverpool do in the summer transfer window? Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. And thanks for watching. Have a nice day. See you later. Goodbye.